to the Patriot Hour for Friday, January 10th, 2019, all day long. All right, some interesting little headlines we're going to go over here. Again, welcome to the Patriot Hour. If you are new, if you are a first-timer, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, ring the bell to work with you and your device in the best possible manner. It'll alert you when we go live or do shows like this, whatever. All welcome, all returning Patriots, welcome back to the Patriot Hour. Had a great live show earlier today. Took some call-ins. We got the call-ins back. The only live call-in show on YouTube, #1 according to our own people that we polled in the live chat. So awesome. 1 out of 5 dentist, right? All right, so we need to pay attention to the polls, or not so much coming up into 2020, which we're in now, but the election just around the corner. Again, put out an email today finally to the Patriots with an S Fest, PatriotsFest 2020 at Gmail for the event in August 14th and 15th for the event. All right, so we're going to look at a few articles here. I'm sidetracked. I keep looking over at these, but they're interesting. Let's just read a couple of these headlines. All right, so McConnell signs on to a resolution to dismiss the articles of impeachment if not received within the next 25 days. So that kind of gives us a deadline here. So McConnell signs on to that resolution. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell signed on to Senator Josh Hawley's, a Republican out of Missouri, resolution to change the Senate rules, which would allow the Senate to vote to dismiss Democrats' articles of impeachment if House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has not submitted the articles of impeachment within the next 25 days. So, New York Times reporter Nick Fandos reported on Thursday that McConnell had signed onto the resolution as a co-sponsor to the resolution to change Senate impeachment rules to allow chamber to dismiss House articles if they're not sent over. So only seems to be fair. Speaking on the floor of the Senate Thursday, McConnell slammed Pelosi and the House Democrats for spending 12 weeks undermining the institution of the presidency with an historical, unfair, and subjective impeachment. And now, for the sequel, they've come after the institution of the Senate as well. You know, we just want to make sure we're going to get a fair something at the Senate level. Well, geesh. You guys are trying to be in control of everything. There's 3 parts to government here, and you're just running the show, and you're not even, nobody voted you to do so. Let's put it that way. They have a hard time, folks, accepting the, I am just convinced at this point in my life that there are a lot of idiots on this planet, and we don't want to let them guide us or tell us anything. Because the next thing you know, we'd all be standing in the lines for the to walk into the fires or the ovens, and then they'll finally admit that they're dumb, they're stupid, they disarmed us. Now what? Now what? They're going to ask. They're going to break down. Their emotions are going to take over. They're going to get weak in the knees and just sob and fall over, and you're going to have to drag them. They're going to want you to drag them to their death. And then they'll admit that they were wrong at the same time. And, well, what are you going to do? And it's like, nothing. At this point, it's too late. You idiots have guided everybody, defied logic. Just like their gun laws up in Chicago that didn't work. And then they start picking, well, it's the neighboring states and the neighboring state next to them. And they can clear the guns out coast to coast from the law-abiding citizens. And then all it would be left were the people that aren't going to listen to it anyway. Just like somebody got a hold of me and said, I think all downtown Virginia is now a gun-free zone. Well, the only people that are going to abide by that are the law-abiding people. And now the criminal, when he comes and opens up fire in some area of a gun-free zone like they do, everyone else is disarmed. And all you're doing is adding one more charge to the guy that already broke 1 million laws to get to where he's at, to have the gun to do the shooting. That's all that law does. It's like, well, now we broke that gun free. Now there could have been somebody there to stop him. Just like this church guy that, that stopped at the church that's going to be speaking at the event come next week. So I'm just saying these guys, they've quickly got it to where all the people will be disarmed. But now if the bad guy shows up, he broke that rule. And everyone acts like, so who's that rule there for? Think about it. Think about that law you just voted in. Who's it really affecting? The law-abiding person. So when you put laws in, a lot of times they're only the law-abiding person's getting screwed. That's how it works. New photos of Clinton with the alleged sex slave Epstein madame on Loletta Express emerge. So we've seen quite a few of these photos over the years, folks, through the Q drops, all the way just from different places around the web, 4chan, and so on and so forth. So on Wednesday, the Sun UK released new photos of the former president, Billy Slick Willie Billy Clinton, Teflon Bill, in connection to now deceased registered sex offender Jeff Epstein in a world exclusive. We've shown you the photos of him on the island. Who took the photos? Epstein. Him and many other guys, right? They were right off the coast of, not so much wasn't Epstein's island, but somewhere over there. So the photos purport to show Mr. Bill Clinton and alleged Epstein Madame Ghislaine Maxwell, that was his pimp, on board Epstein's notorious private jet dubbed Loletta Express. Another image shows the former president with his arm around his alleged sex slave, Shantae Davis, who was wearing a pilot hat she was allegedly ordered to wear to look more professional. Let's look at these photos here. So right here, Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell. Here's another one. The pair went on a 2000 trip to Africa. Now, there's a bunch of other people that went on this jet. So in another image, he has his arm around Epstein's personal masseuse, sex slave Shantae Davies, who had been ordered to wear a pilot shirt to look professional. Other never seen before images show Clinton traveling on the infamous Boeing 727 jet while playing cards and chomping on a cigar. And we know how Bill Clinton liked his cigars. If not, look into it. Now, for the first time, Shantae Davis has revealed the extraordinary details of Clinton's long-distance flight to Africa with Maxwell and a number of other celebrities. The star-studded group, which included actors of Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, visited Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Mozambique, Johannesburg, Cape Town, in a 5-day humanitarian trip. There is no suggestion Clinton, Spacey, 60, or Tucker, 48, did anything wrong during the tour or knew of Maxwell's alleged activities on Epstein's behalf or the abuse of Shantae suffered at his hands. However, it will further raise concerns about how some of the world's most famous and powerful people were drawn into Epstein's circle at a time when he was committing horrific sex crimes. And just nobody knew it. Back then, the president and the pimp, Epstein, the president, Epstein's pimp. Unbelievable. And nobody knew. Nobody caught on. Clinton was pictured with his arm around Epstein's private masseuse, Shantae Davies. And Prince Andrew with his arm around sex slave Virginia Roberts. The royal also claims he did nothing wrong after being drawn into Epstein's circle. There's a flash of the camera in the window. And here's Davies, said she was made to wear a pilot's uniform to appear professional. So Shantae, now 40, told The Sun it's clear that Epstein was using his private jet and his wealth to get close to the rich and powerful people. Looking back at these images now, it raises a lot of questions about why Bill Clinton was using the plane and what perhaps Jeffrey may have been trying to accomplish by having him around. Sex trafficker Epstein, who killed himself in his jail cell in August, was accused of using the aircraft to transport underage girls to his various luxury homes around the globe, the world. globe, whatever, flat earth, whatever you think. Victims of the monster say he organized orgies on board the 3-engine commercial jet. American dignitaries and rich and powerful figures, including under fire royal Prince Andrew, also regularly traveled on this plane. All right, so we got the flight logs. We've gone over the flight logs. Bill Clinton said he flew a few times, but we know he flew about 26, to be exact, 27 maybe, on the logs. I mean, if there's any chance that he could have not been on the logs, you know he was all over it. I mean, Bill Clinton duped his Secret Service to get on board this thing. I mean, we know that he's gone into the restrooms at airports and then scammed out, raced out, and got on the planes, and then the Secret Service has seen the jet take off down the runway. Oh, sorry about that. You know, I mean, what the heck? This is after his presidency. You know, he's still got a Secret Service that follows him for life, and he's been known to evade. He could really get down then. I mean, these people are sworn to secrecy anyway, but you just, you can't look the guy in the eye. So Bill Clinton was in relaxed mode on a humanitarian trip to Africa. No evidence has emerged to prove that Andrew or Bill Clinton took part in any sexual activity on the Loeta Express. But Shantae, who suffered a series of rapes and sexual assaults at the hands of the disgraced Wall Street tycoon Epstein, opened up about the September 2002 Africa trip for the first time. It was part of a project for Clinton's foundation in order to raise awareness about poverty and AIDS crisis. But it was also saw pedophile Epstein and his alleged pimp Maxwell, who was always vehemently denied at any wrongdoing, rubbing shoulders with America's former commander-in-chief and other A-list celebs. Shantae, then aged 22, categorically denied that any improper behavior occurred around Clinton and that he was a complete gentleman the entire time. The former president also previously issued a statement in regards to his travels on the plane and denied knowing anything about the financier's crimes. It's said President Clinton knows nothing about the terrible crimes Jeffrey Epstein pled guilty to in Florida some years ago, or those with which he has previously been charged with in New York. In 2002 and 2003, President Clinton took a total of 4 trips on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane, 1 to Europe, 1 to Asia, and 2 to Africa, which included stops in connection with the Clinton Foundation. Staff supporters of the foundation and his Secret Service detail traveled on every leg of every trip. That's a lie. Bill Clinton's known to lie a few times here, folks. He did not have sexual relation. Oh, I did. I'm sorry. No, he did not have Secret Service on every time. I could promise you that. And I'll tell you that right now for a fact. Say it to your face to face to you, Billy. You're lying. So Shantae has never accused Andrew of any wrongdoing, and Andrew himself has always denied any impropriety. Speaking on his behalf, Buckingham Palace Police said the Duke of York has been appalled by the recent reports of Jeffrey Epstein's alleged crimes. And we know this man is a very sick man as well. I mean, when it came out last year that an underage boy of 13 or 14 was coming against Mr. Spassi, the media came out quickly and said, hey, he's coming out of the closet. Well, that's different than touching a small young boy. I mean, are you trying to take, that he's, gay with liking small children? That's different. And that's how they try to spin the crap. So, Kevin Spacey was also on the trip with Bill Clinton. There's no suggestion he knew about Epstein's crimes. And then you got Ghislaine Maxwell spoke about on the trip to Africa, describing how she found herself on a once-in-a-lifetime trip. Shantae revealed how she received a call from Epstein's office asking if she would come on a trip he was hosting. He gave her just a week's notice to prepare. She said that was all I was told, just a simple yes or no, and can I leave in a week? Meaning, get all necessary shots, reschedule any existing appointments, pack a suitcase, and meet us in New York to fly to Africa. It did weigh heavy on my mind, the remoteness of being on the other side of the world with Jeffrey, not knowing what to expect from him. I was praying Jeffrey wouldn't make a move on me, desperately wanting everything about this trip to be kept professional. Massage therapist Shantae, who was allegedly raped and sexually assaulted by Jeffrey Epstein on other trips, including at his private Caribbean island of Little St. James, was terrified of the American. We were told to wear pilot outfits. At the time of the Africa trip, she had recently broken her finger and recalls that Ghislaine Maxwell, who had first recruited her into Epstein's inner circle, was unsure if she should travel. Shantae said Ghislaine, after the first convincing me I didn't want to miss out on this opportunity when I initially hesitated, had doubts I could help carry things and prepare food. I took a commercial flight from LA to New York and then walked from the plane to Jeffrey Epstein's plane sitting in the middle of the tarmac. A man ushered me over and I boarded to find Sarah Kellen and 2 other assistants waiting for Jeffrey and Ghislaine's arrival along with whoever they were hosting. I was curious to see who my travel companions would be. I hoped we got along. The man handed me a packet and suggested I look through it and became familiar with the itinerary. He gave us uniform shirts to wear, white button-downs with captain shoulder patches. I felt like a goober, but I was a good sport and put it on. We were given a briefing on the food that was available on the plane and our flight schedule, but then we took a seat. Comedian Chris Tucker went on the trip to Africa. Again, he is not accused of any wrongdoing. Chris Tucker was on the trip in the humanitarian capacity. So then Shantae told how she was shocked and surprised to see the A-list guest arrive, including ex-Pres Clinton. She said, I jumped out of my seat and was immediately aware that my travel mates had arrived, and in walks Bill Clinton. He continued to walk onto the plane, introducing himself. I thought of him to be charming and sweet. More of the guests arrived, and somehow, as the plane closed its doors, I stood around looking the room at all the new faces I just met. Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and Bill, accompanied by, of course, by the Secret Service. I literally pinched myself to make sure I was alive, and the pain meds for my finger were causing me to hallucinate. I was going to Africa with the most electric group of people imaginable. Our pictures also show Kevin Spacey alongside Maxwell and a smiling Chris Tucker. Shantae revealed that everyone was formally introduced on the plane that took off from New York airfield, and was everyone quickly began bonding. So here's Epstein, and pedophile Epstein and Ghislaine were inseparable for years. Here she is right here in front of behind Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew is close friends with the Epstein's pimp, Ghislaine. She said it was like a camp and most unimaginable group of campers one could ever put together. Everybody cracked jokes at one another. Clinton was chiming in and cracking jokes along with us. We were all laughing and bonding over corny jokes. A movie was put on, and everyone took either a seat in the giant armchairs or on the floor, and we watched it all together. Eventually, everyone fell asleep to the movie. The trip saw the group attend events in Ghana, Rwanda, Nigeria, Mozambique, and South Africa. So, on the Ghana leg of the trip, Shantae revealed she went shopping at a small wooden jewelry store and helped former president pick out a bracelet for his daughter Chelsea. She said, here and I were bonding over the fact that my great-uncle Russell Cronkite was the head of the chief of the Blair House, the guest house of the White House during his presidency. He was a chef that made Chelsea's infamous pizzas for her 13th birthday party. Here you have Epstein, and Prince Andrew appears to be talking over business or what's owed to somebody, it looks like. Prince Andrew met with Jeffrey Epstein at 2008 after his conviction of his 2008 for child abuse. Jeffrey Epstein died in prison of 2019, suspectedly, in a suspected suicide. Now, again, I did that video yesterday where they are blaming his bunkie, his cellmate, was a quadruple murderer, an ex-cop that was working with the mob or something, some gang mob, and then killed 4 people, was accused of killing 4 people, and that was his bunkie. Now, we know the Epstein suicide or whatever, the guards fell asleep, the cameras are malfunctioning. They did not capture the supposed suicide in August of 19. Back up to like July, 6 weeks earlier, he had attempted to commit suicide, they said. But actually they were, I think, blaming it on the roommate at the time or something. The bunkie of his, this quadruple murderer guy, and that lawyer and that inmate had, they just went to court over that, and they pulled for the camera footage from the first attempt. They show up to court, the DOJ does, or the federal prison, and they show footage of a whole nother floor at the exact same time that this took place. But the problem was they had the readout, and let's just, for example, say at 10:38 p.m. that night, they said the guard came by, witnessed Epstein trying to hang himself or hung himself. He runs and gets paramedics or whatever they do, and then procedures take place. Well, that never happens on this other tape. The time comes and people are looking like, well, the first thing it says like a guard came at 10:35. We don't see that on the video here with the timestamp at 10:36. There's no guard. Oh, well, that's because, and then they go into this story about how, they must have got the wrong footage saved from the wrong floor and at the exact same time and the exact same date. The date's correct, the time's right, but it's just the wrong footage. And then the other footage, come to find out, it's gone. Not just gone, it's been deleted, deliberately deleted. So now there's no footage for either. So unbelievable. We'll finish up this. Got like one more paragraph. Clinton was a great guy in the trip. He'd sit around with us on the plane with a cigar in his mouth, playing cards in between flights. I wrote in my journal at the time that I wish he could be president again. He was charismatic and funny and kind and personable. I'm sure he is when he's on the prowl. All right? If you were in his presence, he was going to just stun you with his down-to-earth country talk, jokingly self or something. But then the monster would come out eventually. All right, it's obvious he cared about not just our country, but the world. I bet he does. He was a gracious host. Following the final leg of the trip in South Africa, Epstein's plane departed for London, and Clinton and the other celebrities left. Shantae and a smaller group of people flew to Paris with Epstein. Despite the experience on the foreign visit, Shantae was haunted by her previous experience with Epstein. She added, I felt shamed by what had been happening with her and Jeffrey, and I was doing my best acting performance to keep things looking as professional as I could. I had to cover it up for everyone. I still thought it was happening only to me, and I couldn't talk about it with any of the other assistants. So that's her story. I didn't even really finish this one over here, but I gave you a bunch more over there. So there you go. The 6 tweets foretold 2 years ago U.S. Attorney John Huber would tank the investigation of the Clintons. Watch Ilhan Omar laughs while colleagues talk about U.S. casualties in Iraq. New lawsuit claims Rod Rosenstein led task force that spied on Cheryl Atkinson's computer. Senator Dianne Feinstein to Pelosi, if we're doing this, send the impeachment articles to the Senate. If we're doing this. All right, so we read a few of those. Again, 25 days now is a time limit. 25 days, folks. Unbelievable. At least we got a timeline. Okay, again, I'm going to shut this one down. We're at our mark well over. It's Friday evening. I hope you're all having a great one, and we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour update video coming sometime later tonight or first thing tomorrow. Again, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. God bless.